right now I want to find out about something that I just didn't know enough about, and so I contacted Tim over at the Calhoun Community High School. Tim Allard is the superintendent, and he is our guest right now. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. I've seen, mentions pretty much lately because of all the school closings. It's like Calhoun Community High School, Calhoun Community High School, and I'm thinking, I got to find out more about that. And it's kind of been sort of a secret, but it's been around how long now?
So they've been in existence since about the year 2000, and we graduated over 1,200 kids from the area that needed a second chance and a new opportunity.
And these are kids that just not flourishing in traditional public schools or private schools and just need another opportunity.
Exactly. The rigor at the traditional schools is high as it should be. Not every kid fits into that system with the amount of electives in the Michigan merit curriculum. And as some of them tend to fall behind or struggle with some academics, they find themselves not able to graduate on time. When they come to our school, we reduce the amount of credits that are required, but still offer the Michigan merit curriculum. So their diploma is the same as it would be from any school. In fact, the credits from one local school here can be different than the next, depending on how many electives and things like that they require. So we give them what is needed to get the diploma and get them back on track.
Before we get into some more of the nuts and bolts of all of that, what about you, Tim? What's your background in education?
So this is my 30th year in education. I started off as a teacher in Martin, Michigan.
Okay.
Got there just after they had won a couple of state championships in football, and they had a strong girls and boys basketball program. And my first opportunity, and worked there for 9 years and taught middle school language arts and coached several sports. From there, I moved on after my master's to Otsego Public Schools, where I was a principal in the middle school, a principal in an elementary. And then I found myself in this alternative ed opportunity, and that has led me to Calhoun Community High School and being the director and now superintendent of the school.
Excellent, excellent. Where do you hail from originally?
Actually, I did graduate from Otsego myself. I have 2 children that graduated from Otsego. And
yeah, I'm from Plainwell.
Are you?
Yeah, so get out of here. There's
a
rivalry there.
There is, yeah. I don't know if you're following what's happening in the Wolverine, but the Bulldogs just won their second boys basketball conference championship and are undefeated. So
I'm afraid I noticed that. Yes,
right.
They're a great basketball team this year. Yeah.
But happy to talk about Calhoun Community High School today, so thanks.
Well, that's good. I mean, and also, being, right here from West Michigan and in the area, I think that's probably an advantage. And of course, you have to make the school closing decisions, and so you can kind of base that on growing up in that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I remember the blizzard of '78. I was in middle school in Three Rivers at the time, and it seems like, if my memory serves, we were out all of a week, if not longer. But this year has been interesting. And I just want to clarify, when you say closings, you're talking about the weather closings, because there has been rumors about our school closing due to some of the circumstances that we've gone through the last couple of years. So I really appreciate the opportunity to be here today to say that is not happening, and can maybe tell you a little bit about what I'm talking about.
Well, sure, yeah. And also, you're planning a move.
Absolutely. So that's part of it.
Yep. So where are you located right now?
So right now we are in the territorial building on Arbor Street. It's also houses the central office for Lakeview Schools.
Yeah, I think I vote there.
Yeah. Well, you did.
They
changed that precinct, but yeah, that was a voting precinct for sure.
Sure, and hopefully going to move over to what was the Math Science Center in Springfield High School.
Exactly.
Yep.
So when the school first came into existence, they occupied a church. Probably worth noting is that back in that day when schools of choice became legal, the local superintendents and the Kellogg Community College president looked at creating an alternative education school for all of the local districts so they weren't duplicating services. And that's how we came to be. And so Kellogg Community College chose to charter us, but we were the only charter they ever held. They weren't in the chartering business. And they did that for, 15, 16 years, and Lakeview managed us. In the last couple of years, all of those things have changed. So our charter is now through Bay Mills Community College, and our management is through a private company. So I wrote an article a couple years ago called A Three-Legged Stool. You need 3 legs for it to stand up. You need the charter, you need the management company, and you need a facility. Well, the third challenge this year, or the last couple of years, has been that Lakeview knows that that territorial building is just, a money pit, really.
Mm-hmm.
Roof, windows, it's old. And so they don't have plans to continue using that facility. And we were told that and given notice. Without going into all the details, we have found a new home at the Burma Center, which, as you mentioned, was Springfield High School in the day. And for us, it's the first time we will occupy a building that was traditionally a high school, which will be great. We'll have a true science lab. We will have a cafeteria that's separate from the gym. We'll have a full-size gym, offices for teachers, to work in addition to their classrooms. We're very excited, and the move is only less than 2 miles from our current location, so it doesn't really disrupt our students too much.
That's excellent. And we're not talking about like an ancient building here. It's really, 60s vintage building, right?
Absolutely. Terrazzo floors, it's got lockers, sprinkling, and because the Math and Science Center was there, all of the cabling and wiring for technology was in place. We have to do some upgrades, but we don't have to install any of that, wire trays and all of that. So it's really a minimal upgrade for us to be move-in ready.
How many grades in the Calhoun Community High School?
So we're 9 through 12. Our smallest class traditionally is 9th graders. That's because we would like them to have an opportunity to be in their traditional schools so that they can experience things like sports and band and drama and other activities that those schools offer. But as we talked about earlier, sometimes students don't fit into that mold, or they're looking for a smaller environment or more one-on-one attention, and that's what we are able to offer.
Sure. And, a lot of times, a lot of this other stuff is distractions, and it sounds to me like a lot of the students who come to the Calhoun Community High School, they really need to focus on the basics.
Absolutely. It is true. The curriculum in all schools can be challenging, and the class sizes are bigger, and that's been growing, I think, over the years with budget cuts and so forth. We're fortunate that we are able to offer really small class sizes. We're a Title I building, but we're school-wide Title I, which means every student who enrolls in our school is entitled to Title I services. We're not targeted, meaning that you can only focus title services on the bottom 20%.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it.
Does that mean a laptop or things like that?
It really does. So if we purchase like Chromebooks or laptops with title funds, instead of saying 2 out of these 10 kids can use them, any kid can use them. Or if we have tutoring services, and we have some very unique and innovative programs which we're allowed to have because of the nature of our school, all designed to help students who struggle with learning and have potentially fallen behind or had some other issues in their traditional schools.
How many students are at the school right now?
Our fall count was at 162 students. We range between about 150 and 160. We do have room to grow, but being right-sized is important. We're not here to try to take students from other school districts. We're here to provide a service in a niche school that has a population that needs our services, and we think we do it really well.
Talking with Tim Allard, Superintendent of the Calhoun Community High School this morning. Tim, how big a staff do you have? You mentioned roughly 160 students, but what sort of staff do you have?
So we have 17 total staff members. We have 7 classroom teachers, 2 special ed teachers, and then support staff with a social worker, guidance counselor, graduation coach, and then some tutors that are funded out of Title I.
And how, if a student, if a family decides, well, we're going to send you over to the Calhoun Community High School, do they have to pay for that? Is there funding? I mean, how are you funded?
So our school is a public school academy. meaning that we get state aid just like every other school. We get federal aid as well. So Title I and Title II funding are federal, 31A, and our general fund come from the state of Michigan. It's a public school. We have to comply with all public policies. We have to, meet certain standards. So yeah, that's where our funding comes from.
And how's the cooperation been with other public school districts in the area?
I think pretty good. Most of our kids come from Battle Creek, Lakeview, Harper, and Penfield, but we take kids, from the whole, Calhoun County area. We have kids from Union City and Athens. We've even had some from Marshall. A lot of our kids have to find the right place where they fit, and we are that for them. So, parents will check us out, and we'll check their kids out, and we have an intake process, and we want it to be, the right fit for us and for them.
What's the attitude of most of the students? I mean, I'm sure it varies from student to student, but are they grateful for a chance to work in a setting that might work better for them than the previous?
Yeah, in addition to academics, sometimes our students have been disenfranchised in other areas and haven't had leadership opportunities. When they come to our school, it's like a small family. Honestly, we have very minimal bullying. They're good about taking care of each other. They get leadership opportunities with student council. We've held 3 blood drives a year for the last couple of years with the Red Cross. Our students run all of that. We've done some food drives. We do a lot of service learning. We work with the food bank, with Sprout Urban Farms. So yeah, they get to finally show that they have some leadership abilities and exhibit those at our school where they might not have at their traditional school.
Yeah, and if they've seen challenges in more traditional academic settings, I imagine that you're focusing on getting them ready to get into the job market, not necessarily to college.
True, but I will say that our students, if they are legacy scholars coming from Lakeview or from Battle Creek, they do not lose that legacy scholarship. And that isn't necessarily true for other alternatives in the area. So those 2 schools, try to make sure their students understand they're not forfeiting that scholarship by coming to us. And we have some who do go on to college, some to the RMTC, but many to work. And that's the other great thing about our students is most of them stay in the area and are employed in the area. There's not a lot of them that are necessarily moving away or out of state. So, we get them to that diploma, which is a door opener, and then they go contribute to Battle Creek.
Yep, and there are a lot of employers in the Battle Creek area right now that are just looking for people who are going to show up and give them a day's work. And so there's great opportunity for a lot of students.
Those soft skills are as much of our curriculum as the traditional curriculum. We help students write resumes. We participate in the sophomore future track. We take them on field trips to, the various employment opportunities in the Fort area. We really try to connect them to the opportunities that they will participate in.
And like the other area schools, there's an opportunity for dual enrollment at KCC.
Yep, we have kids that dual enroll through the RMTC or at KCC. And so that's always a point of pride for us as well.
What's a day like academically? I mean, when do they show up? How many classes do they have in a day? What are those classes? What do they look like?
Well, again, we try to offer seat time as much as possible because our teaching staff is phenomenal. They're dedicated to this population. We don't have a revolving door of teachers. In fact, a couple of the teachers have been there since the start of the school.
Wow.
So we start at 8 in the morning, end at 2:25. They have 4 classes, so we're on a block schedule. And again, that part of that block schedule is designed so that we can help them in-house. Not a lot of homework is assigned. We know that that's a struggle for them. So we provide time in the building. We've done a lot of professional development lately on blended learning. So every classroom has Chromebooks, and a lot of learning is done through Google Classroom, as well as traditional instruction. And then, as I mentioned before, a lot of support. We have a student services office, a Title I room, and then we offer some online learning. Simply because of our size, we have to.
If we want to find out more about the Calhoun Community High School, what can we do?
First thing I would say is go to our website, which is www.calhounhs.org, or just give us a call at the school at 269-565-2460, and we'd be happy to, talk about our school and give a tour, get kids signed up that need us.
Another important piece of any strong community, and how can we help, those of us listening, help support your school?
I would love to come back when the building is finished and talk about the new facility. I would love to have any media be able to put the word out about us. I'm always amazed at people who live locally here that haven't heard about our school, even though it's been around a while. I know we're not for everybody. As I said earlier, it's a niche school, but the population we serve, we do very well, and we know there are more students out there that could use our services.
Excellent. Well, we will definitely want to have you back, especially next fall as we get into the new building. I'd like to maybe meet some of those teachers who've been there the entire time now. What you said, almost 20 years now.
Yeah, I think we're at 19 years. Next year will probably be our 20th.
Wow.
So that might be a celebration too, a new facility and hitting that second decade, and or third actually. Yeah.
Tim Allard, Superintendent, Calhoun Community High School. Keep up the great work.
Thank you so much, and thanks again for having me.